Well, hi there, food friends. It's Kevin.
And Marianne behind the camera.
And welcome to Cavalcade of Food. And we're going to invite you to have dinner with me and my sis here tonight. And we're just going to have something easy and fun and yummy, aren't we, Mare?
Yes.
So we are going to make what we call a loose meat sandwich, or in some parts of the country, Marianne, they call these a tavern sandwich. I think where it got its start, it was in a tavern or a place called the Tavern or whatever. But basically what it is, it's a sloppy Joe without the
Slop.
without the slop. Exactly right. Without the tomato sauce, okay, the sauce, and you know, this is something that really is not really a thing here in Michigan at all, but in certain parts of the Midwest, particularly Iowa, parts of Illinois, maybe even in parts of Minnesota, loose meat sandwiches are a big deal. And when I was told you about it, Mare, you said you knew about loose meat sandwiches, right?
Yeah.
What was that? What was the reference?
There was a show on TV that the woman had a loose meat sandwich restaurant.
And that was Roseanne?
Yes.
So that was like what they served at their little luncheonette or their little restaurant, right? It was loose meat sandwiches. And there's a chain in that part of the country called Made Right. I would love to go to it. I've never had a Made Right, so I don't know what they taste like. And loose meat sandwiches are kind of like sloppy joes. There's a lot of variations, a lot of different recipes. So we're going to make a loose meat sandwich, and what goes great, which we like to have with hamburgers or sloppy joes or loose meat sandwich, is of course French fries would be great. But we don't really do a lot of frying here at home, do we, Mare?
No, we don't.
Not that we don't like fries, French fries. We love them. But it's usually something we'll get when we're out in a restaurant. Or we'll do them in the air fryer sometimes, which we like how they come out there. But tonight, Mare, I had a few potatoes left over in the pantry. So we're going to just do oven roasted potatoes to go with our loose meat sandwiches. How's that?
Sounds good.
Okay, this could not be easier. So you preheat your oven to about 400 degrees, okay? So I got 4 potatoes here, probably, about a pound of potatoes, I'm going to say. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut these and I'm going to cube them. And these are just yellow or gold potatoes. They actually have a nice color and a nice texture. They're very creamy. But what we like is to have them sort of crisped up on the outside and tender on the inside. So just cut them however you want. I'm just going to do a dice here. Potatoes, pretty much any way they can be made, we will eat them. Right, Mare?
Right.
We like potatoes. And I think most people do. And so if you've got potatoes, it's been said, if you've got potatoes, you've got the means of making a meal. So helps to keep your knife sharp. And again, these are going to be made in the oven. Notice how I cut the potato in half, put that flat side down, because now we've got a nice stable surface.
What kind of potatoes are they?
These are gold potatoes. I don't know, Yukon golds. And I like these for almost any purpose. They've got a very thin skin on them. Okay, so our potatoes are cut up. Then what you're going to want to do is get an oil of your choice. We like olive oil, of course, but you could use, you know, a vegetable oil, or you could use avocado oil, or even a coconut oil. So, little oil. Then we're going to do salt and pepper. And then I have a salt-free seasoning, so I already put salt on it. So if you are on a low sodium diet, just omit the salt. I put a little salt because I like the flavor. This is like a Mrs. Dash kind of a thing, you know, it's just, but anyways, I'm generous with that. And then you could, sometimes we'll put, if I have garlic powder, I'll put that on there. That's good, isn't it, Mare?
Yeah.
Or onion powder, any kind of other herbs. The salt-free blend sort of has all that stuff in it. Okay. So I'm just tossing that around. Then I've got a baking sheet. And we're gonna put these potatoes on here in a single layer. And they'll bake in the oven for about 45 minutes or so until they are crisp and golden brown, and you can poke them with a fork and make sure that they're done on the inside, but 45 minutes to an hour depending. We'll put those in. Okay, now these are in, and we'll come on back and I'll start putting stuff together for our loose meat sandwiches. All right, honey, ready to make some loose meat sandwiches here?
Yep.
Okay, so today, because I've had some requests, Mare, to do cooking at the stove at our beautiful 1954 General Electric Liberator. So here it is, folks, and we are on the right, we're on the right front burner. So we're going to start with putting our meat in the skillet. This is 1 pound of ground beef. This recipe really does need, Mare, not a super lean. This is an 85-15 blend, which I think works best for this.
Okay.
If you want to use ground sirloin, I mean, you could, but it's really so dry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this will give it a little bit of a flavor. I'm using a cast iron skillet here, which I love for stuff like this. And then I've got a half a cup of onions. Now these are pretty finely diced. And then we're going to put in a little salt and pepper, maybe half a teaspoon of each. Okay. And we're just going to let this do its thing here. By the way, Mary Ann and I got turned on to these little gizmos some time ago, didn't we, Mare?
Yeah.
And we make chili and we make sloppy joes and things a lot. Or taco meat, right?
Right.
It's good for all of that. And I thought, you know, all these years I just used a spoon. And by the way, you could use a spoon. A wooden spoon is great, or any other kind of spoon you like. But this does help break the meat up a little bit. So I am going to use that. And we want to brown this. Gosh, it smells good already, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We want to brown this meat so that it's completely cooked. There's no pink left in it. And when you put the onions in with the meat, Mayor, the onions get nice and soft, but they really help flavor the meat rather than putting them in later on.
Yeah.
When the meat cooks with the onions, the flavors really do meld nicely. All right, so I'm just going to keep at this here, and then we're going to come on back when the meat's cooked all the way through. Making loose meat sandwiches. All right, sis, how we looking here?
Looks good.
Looks good. You want these crumbles really on the fine side. And I would even say that if you are able to, if you buy your meat at a butcher shop where there's actually a real butcher there, you could even ask that the meat be ground fine. You know, I think when you buy just the prepackaged beef, I mean, it's ground, not necessarily super fine, but relatively fine. But if you have a good butcher shop and you know your butcher, which I recommend, then you could ask the butcher to have some ground beef, and you could have it done fine, and you'll get these crumbles. I've been sort of really working at it with our little, I don't know what the heck you call these little deals, Mare.
I'm not sure.
But anyways, I've been working on it with this. Now, it's browned completely. So I'm just sort of looking in here, Mare. I'm going to turn this down. And there is not that much fat. There's a little very thin layer at the bottom of the pan. I'm not going to bother. If you had hamburger that was, say, an 80-20 or something like that and had a higher fat content, or you really want to sort of make it as lean as possible, you could drain. There's not enough here to really drain. You'd have to take the meat out and wipe the bottom of the pan and maybe let the meat soak on some paper toweling to get off any excess grease. There's really not that much here. So you know what? We're going to let it roll. How's that, Mare?
Okay.
Fat is flavor, too, by the way. And not that we want to eat more than we should, but I think we're okay in this case. All right. So now we've got some other ingredients to add. I've lowered the heat. Now, we're going to put in a half a cup of water to this, okay? And then we're going to put in a half a teaspoon of granulated beef bouillon and a teaspoon of sugar. Okay? And we're going to put in a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And then, last but not least, a little mustard. A tablespoon. I'm eyeballing it here. That looks like about right. All right. Now, let me take it back up. Let me get this all mixed in. So now, you've got this liquid in here, Mare, and we are just going to cook this until that liquid, for the most part, evaporates. But that liquid will help us mix those other ingredients that we added kind of into the meat. So, you know, it's like the Made Right recipe is top secret, and so a lot of people have kind of guessed at what the ingredients are in the Made Right and the process. Again, I've never had a Made Right sandwich, but one of these days I'm going to take a trip out to Iowa, among other places, and I'm going to make a point of getting one because I'm dying to try it. But, you know, it's like anything, Mare. It's like when you try to, people have tried to replicate or like the 11 secret herbs and spices on KFC chicken. You can come close, but there's always some little secret, it seems like, that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is sort of unknown. So again, all right, we've got this good and stirred. We are going to let this just sort of simmer and evaporate away. And then what we'll do is we will come on back and get things ready. Our potatoes are roasting in the oven, and so those should be done. Hopefully, I think if I've timed it right, the taters will be done at the same time as our loose meat sandwiches. So that's what we're having for dinner. Well, honey, I think we are good. Now, something I like to do the last few minutes is I like to put the buns here, and this gives them, steams them up really nice, and just some of that wonderful beefy aroma gets into the buns, and it softens them up so they're not real dry. So anyways, make sure we're off. Our potatoes are done. By the way, this is probably still really hot, so let me get, here's our oven roasted potatoes to go with our our loose meat sandwiches. Okay, move this over here now. So I'm going to start by, that bun's nice and steamed. So I'm going to get my spoon. Almost all the liquid mare has evaporated and or soaked into the meat, really. Okay?
Okay.
So there's that. Now, if you want to put a pickle or an onion, all the better. Feel free to garnish however you want. Just so that people don't think we have some health and some green on our plate. We serve it with a little salad, which is nice. But this is the main attraction. So these are messy to eat, like a sloppy Joe is, as you might imagine. So I'm gonna just dig in. Oh, that's good. First of all, it's so juicy. It's not dry at all. Again, we used 85-15 ground beef here, Mary Ann. You have that, there's something about beef and onion, that flavor is so good, and you have it here. And then just with a little bit of mustard, right? Because the mustard has sort of the tang in it. It's very, very slight, but oh my gosh, is that good. And then you have just the flavor from, we put a little Worcestershire and beef bouillon, and that actually makes it beefier. And so, oh, is this good? Is this good? And you really, I don't have any mustard or anything on this, and frankly, I don't think you need it. Then you have that soft steamed bun. I get why this is a thing. Here in Michigan, especially in the Detroit area, we have Coney Islands or Coney dogs, which anywhere else is just a chili dog, okay? But that's what they're called here, and they're a big thing. And I love how different parts of the country, like cheesesteaks and hoagies and I love how different parts of the country have their regional specialties. This is delicious. So you can see, this was a pretty easy to do. Even if you're making the potatoes, while those are cooking, you can do the loose meat sandwich. Out the door, it's about, it's less than an hour. So you have this wonderful recipe, which is below the description. You'll find the recipe for my version of loose meat sandwiches. If you grew up eating these, or you have a special variation, we'd love for you to share it in the comments with us and everybody. Can I thank my sister for working the camera? Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you, and thank you for doing the camera work. Mayor, let's tell them the website.
cavalcadeoffood.com.
Right on. That's it. And we'll thank our food friends for spending some time with us. And as we own, we'll just have to pretend that we're all sitting down to the table now to enjoy these loose meat sandwiches. But anyways, thank you for hanging out in the kitchen here at the Cavalcade, and we'll look forward to seeing you again real soon. Until then, take care of everybody. Bye.
Bye.